Hi, folks. Jim Seles here from RedSail Technologies, Senior Vice President of Marketing, and I'm pleased to be joined by Nicolette Mathey, PharmD and CEO of Atrium 24. And Nicolette, it's great to have you here. I think today we really wanted to focus a little bit more on outreach because, we talked a bit about marketing and how local marketing is so important to keep those scripts local and not go to online, prescription houses.
Right.
And the opportunity that represents. So let's talk a little bit more about outreach. I know that, pharmacy-based adherence interventions, for example, are really gaining some momentum, certainly in the states where, the pharmacist level of their license has been raised and they're allowed to do so many more things from a clinical perspective. So let's talk a little bit about, the positive results that come from that and how do pharmacies start outreach without feeling overwhelmed?
Yeah, that's a great question and one that pharmacies struggle with all the time. And in a lot of pharmacies, they're a pillar of their community. So they already have relationships with a lot of local prescribers. They can call them. And if you think traditionally at high volume pharmacies, sometimes the pharmacist only talks to the prescriber when there's a problem. You made a mistake or this isn't right or there's an interaction. So I think pharmacies come a long way in that respect. I think there's a true collaboration now and it's expected to take care of the patients. And therapies are changing so much. New medications are coming out, new categories. So now that we have this kind of kinship between the prescribers and the pharmacies, now is the best time to borrow from other industries again. So let's look at Big Pharma.
Yes.
Big Pharma has boots on the ground pharma reps. They invest a lot of money in it. Now, those pharma reps are well educated on the products and they go educate prescribers. And they're there as a resource to answer questions and things like that. So independent pharmacy can borrow from that big pharma, but we have an advantage. We have a leg up because we already have the relationships with these prescribers.
So true.
So you have just everything coming together now. It's almost a perfect storm in a good way for us in independent pharmacy because you have educated and informed patients who are being marketed to more than ever. Mm-hmm. They want to be well. They want to be on peptides. They want to feel young. They want to be energetic. They want to lose weight. They want to have their hormones optimized. They want to have supplements. So then you have the prescribers. Patients are asking them questions. They're not very well educated about those things, because those are not traditional pharma therapies. So that's a perfect opportunity for us pharmacists who already have those relationships to get educated on those therapies and educate ourselves, educate our teams, educate our prescribers, and keep all that business local so that we can take care of those patients in-house.
Do you have to have a certain focus in that regard? Or can you sort of it might be difficult to be all those things to all people, right? So do you find it better that they sort of, draft a vision of where they want to go and then focus in those particular therapeutic areas?
Yeah, it definitely helps if someone on your team's passionate about it. If they're passionate about functional medicine and wellness and health and longevity. And if you've seen one pharmacy, I always say that you've seen one pharmacy because all their data sets look different. All of their patients, payers, and passions and prescribers look different. So you might have a very rural pharmacy that serves a big long-term care population. Well, those patients still need nutrient depletion supplements. There's still something that you can pull from in all these communities. So definitely just start with one thing. And if it's a sterile compounded product, your pharmacy can partner with a 503B and then bring that product in and now provide it locally in-house. So there's just so much more that's open and available to us now in independent pharmacy. And the first way that you're going to find out, well, in my pharmacy with all my Ps, like I just said, where do we start? What's good for us? Mm-hmm. How you're going to know is having those conversations with the prescribers that you already have relationships with.
Yeah, it's almost like doing market research, right?
Yeah, it is.
And you're really reaching out and you're trying to segment your population to understand where the nuances are between them and what kind of, we call them personas, right, in the marketing lingo. What kind of persona do you have of a doctor that might be, a patient-focused empathizer that wants to put all kinds of things around them besides the prescription to make them as well as possible.
That's exactly right. And I'll tell you what, too, all the barriers that we had, I just feel that they don't exist anymore. So you might be in a small town and you don't have specialists, right? Or you don't have, all your prescribers are employed by the hospital system and they're not going to write for these things. Well, now independent pharmacies have access to telemedicine. So you can partner with telemedicine companies where you get your own specific URL to put on your website. And on the back end, you select all the therapies that you have access to, that either you can compound or you can outsource or that you have in your own store. And then your patients can literally have that telemedicine experience by staying local and having real human pharmacy staff that takes care of them.
Oh, that's a great combination. The convenience of telemedicine coupled with the intimacy of having your local pharmacy take you, through the process of getting well.
Yeah. So we're in a great position right now to really harness all the advances in technology. And now we have everyone's attention. We have the prescriber's attention. We have the patient's attention. The payers, that's something that's still a work in progress. Hopefully it'll get better. It's tough right now. And patients want to have that relationship. They have a lot of questions. They're getting a lot of information thrown at them at all times. You already have that relationship. You already take care of them and their families. So they want to keep the business with you.
And I think that, we mentioned the payer, obviously CPSN and other organizations that are, affiliated with CPSN, like CCPN in Pennsylvania, where I'm from. It's a great opportunity, I think, to further, the types of clinical, interventions that pharmacists can do and get paid for as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity. Clinical and with all that side, and then with long-term care at home, medical billing, and all those patients that are surfacing. And in my mind, since Atrium 24 is a tech company, we're a software company. At our core, we have the Dottie software, the Atrium X conference, and our Atrium 24 GPO to help with outsourced products. It all just brings me to technology. We can do all these things, and we need strong technology so that all the data is teed up for us. And then our humans can come in and make the interventions, have the conversations, solve the complex problems that we're required to do with relationships as well.
Love that. I guess at the end of the day, too, consistency beats complexity, right? In all of this outreach. So how do you keep it simple and not get it so complex that it becomes problematic from a standpoint of just getting your work done every day?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So the simplest way, we always say to dedicate 2 hours a week or dedicate 3 hours a week, because you do have to be consistent. In sales, someone has to hear that same message from you. What is it, 7 times, 9 times?
At least 7 to 9 is probably on the low end.
Yeah. So, and you have to be consistent. And, like the GLPs, there was such a boom with the compounded GLPs when they were on the shortage list. And so how many of our pharmacies now, though, have let those prescriber relationships go cold because that product is not currently available? That market's changing a ton. There's over 100 GLP, GIP combos in drug development. And in all that, there are more coming. There's a black market right now for those things that are coming into the country that are not for human use. There's a lot going on. And the point being, your prescribers need to hear from you. They need, because the patients are still asking them questions.
Yeah.
So
in other words, if there's a void, they're going to fill it with whatever they feel they need to fill it with, right? Whatever's in their mind from wherever they're getting it, social media or from news sources that might not be that accurate.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And so they need our pharmacies to continue to educate them and to continue to just let them know what are the dangers, what are the things to look out for, and letting them know, what are we seeing with the FDA? What are we experiencing? So as to not get overwhelmed, we can all run reports, who's our top prescribers by volume, by profitability, and just make sure that we are, taking that 2 hours a week, whether it's yourself or if you don't have quite the right temperament, or, maybe you have a technician. We've had a lot of pharmacies hire liaisons or sales reps or community outreach. Maybe that person works also on your social media or also, but the consistency, you're absolutely right. That's the most important thing, because they need to know how, if a crazy question comes up and there's something that comes into their office, because a lot of people are marketing to these prescribers. You want them to call you.
That's right.
Saying, hey, Jim, what do you think about this? Or what's going on? Or, have you heard of this too? You want to be an ally and a trusted resource. And on the pharmacy front, we absolutely should be.
And that move to trusted advisor status is not an easy one to get to. Right. It takes time. It does take consistency. It takes accuracy in the information you're providing, right? And I think you made a great point about the fact that if you're going to have somebody do this, it's got to be someone who's passionate about it.
Yeah.
So if you're not passionate about it as a pharmacist, then get somebody who is, right? Because if you give them the opportunity to run with it, you've got that person on the right seat, on the right bus, like we say, right? And that person can run and really win for you.
That's exactly right.
At the end of the day.
And that's what I struggled with. I had a larger pharmacy that I sold almost 2 years ago now, and I've been focusing exclusively on the software to help with this very problem. And that's what we have with the Dottie CRM is it's very overwhelming. Which prescribers do you talk to? How often? Where do you document it? How do you train your team on these therapies that we've been talking about? How do you get the marketing materials branded for your pharmacy? So all of that is in the software that I built because I experienced those challenges firsthand. You know, I'm looking around at all my friends who have businesses and other industries. They have sales engines. They have software. We didn't have that in pharmacy. And so now we do.
I think it's great that the CRM, the Dottie CRM is a great opportunity for, I think, a lot of pharmacies to really just get information into the right place in one single source of truth that they can then disseminate or use however they need to make their business thrive. I think also from a standpoint of, Clinical Plus, it's a platform that automatically triggers patient education and adherence programs and alerts to the patients so they can feel even more connected from that perspective with those types of solutions as well.
Yeah, it's great. These patients are really empowered nowadays, and it's only going to become more so, and they're inundated with information. So that's exactly right, by the pharmacists being the trusted advisors. Pharmacists have always been in the top most trusted healthcare professionals or professionals. So it's important for us to maintain that and just to continue because that's what we all like doing best, I think, is serving patients with complex information, but making it relatable for them and making sure that all of our patients can understand their medications no matter what.
So maybe a final comment is sort of outreach isn't really hard, right? It's just something that you have to do. It's easy to ignore at the end of the day. So is there maybe a final thought relative to outreach that you'd like to share with our audience?
Yeah, I mean, if you're not reaching out, someone is. So if they're not hearing from you, they're hearing from other companies, they're hearing from other pharmacies, they're definitely hearing from online options, and you're going to lose business because of it.
Yeah. So don't do that.
No.
At the end of the day, outreach is a great thing, and go do it and you just get started, right? That is the biggest thing. You got to build that momentum up so that you can continue to move forward and get the consistency that you're really looking for.
You do. Yep. Don't let perfect get in the way of good enough.
Amen.
And if you have a system, then even if you have turnover, you don't lose all the work that you've done. So just make sure that you have some type of system that's going to exist for the business, no matter who's in that seat, because it's going to change.
That sounds wonderful. Thanks, Nicolette, for joining us today.
Thank you, Jim.
Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time. At the end of the day, outreach doesn't have to be complicated. It just has to be consistent. If you're not reaching out, someone else is. Thanks for joining us for this pharmacy marketing series, and we'll see you on the next one.